Hello, Leslieville and Leslieville neighbors. Thank you so much for joining me today for coffee with the Nosey Neighbor. Today, we'll take a little look at what's happening in the market with, of course, a little dive into the Leslieville stats. And then I hope you'll stick around because I went to chat with Joe Sammut from Mortgage Architects, and he had some interesting things to say about debt consolidation, reverse mortgages, and pre-approvals. So without any further ado, the March data isn't in yet, but February data shows that prices climbed in the GTA and Toronto for the first time since August 2022. Now, August, of course, was the last full month that we saw before rate hikes commenced. We've seen 8 rate hikes since then, and we've seen prices and buyer confidence floundering in that time. Seeing these price increases makes me wonder, are we maybe finding our way back to a normal spring trajectory of a market? Obviously, 1 month of inventory and data will not paint us an accurate picture, but it does show that we might be heading in that direction. For the city of Toronto, the average sale price was down, let me look, 11.5% compared to February of 2021, but it was up 8.4% from January of this year. So we are starting to see a little bit of an upward movement. We are still really struggling with a lack of inventory out there. Last month, we saw 47% less sales than the same time last year and 40% less listings. Since the banks said they were going to put a pause on rate hikes, we've really seen a return of buyer confidence in the market. So even though we have low inventory, because people are feeling a little bit more confident, we're starting to actually see bidding wars. And you can see that play out in the Leslieville stats a little bit from this past week. Now, does this mean the correction is over, the price correction that we have been seeing? Again, 1 month of data, not enough to really give us a picture, but we are seeing a change that seems to be a little bit more positive. Of course, you have to stick with me to see where this goes because I'll keep you in the loop on all of it. So, what's happening in Leslieville and how does this play out with what I'm talking about in the market at large? We've had 7 new house listings come out this past week. 4 of those have offer dates and 3 have offers anytime. We've only had 2 house listings sell in the last week, and both of those went over the asking price. There are 4 house listings that have been sitting on the market between 1 and 4 weeks in Leslieville. The condo market, we have 4 new listings out this week, 2 with offer dates and 2 with offers anytime. 2 condos were sold this past week. 1 went over the asking price and 1 went under. We have 6 condo listings that have been sitting between 1 and 4 weeks in the neighborhood. So you can see that there is starting to be a little bit more energy in the market, and really these numbers are low. There's not a lot of properties out there right now. And if you have a perfect product, which I know I've said before, people are flocking to that and they still really want that right now. So without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Joe Sammut, and I hope that you enjoy what he has to say. Hello, I'm here today with Joe Sammut. Hi, Joe.
Hi, everybody.
Thanks
Hi,
for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So, tell me, what are we going to talk about today?
I think today we should talk about pre-approvals, which I know we've discussed in the past. Very, very important, especially in this changing climate. I think we're going to talk about debt consolidation today. So people
Excellent.
that are worried about debt, suffering in silence, not knowing what they can do with their debt, there are solutions. And then the third thing would be aging in place.
So, pre-approvals, what can you tell me? What's different that needs to be told right now?
So I think it's very important for anybody that's considering buying to get themselves pre-approved so they know exactly where they stand with their financing. So there's a distinct difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification. I believe that anybody that's considering buying, wanting to break into the market, or even their second and third home, they should go through the pre-approval process. So their income is vetted out, their credit is vetted out, and they know exactly where they stand when it comes to what financing options are available to them. So the difference between a pre-approval and a pre-qualification is a pre-approval is taking all of your information, vetting it out, and coming back to you with a specific number and a specific lender and a rate.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a pre-qualification is just punching in numbers about your income
And saying, here's what you can spend.
I think this is what you can spend.
Right.
So a distinct difference, and very, very important that you get a pre-approval rather than a pre-qualification.
So let's talk a little bit about debt consolidation, because I think that is a timely topic right now.
Very much. Where do we start? So there are a lot of people that have a lot of consumer debt that they are not sure what they can do with. They don't know if they can consolidate it. They don't know if they can speak to a bank and get into a loan. They don't know if they can use their house equity to consolidate debt. So what we're finding is a lot of people are suffering in silence with debt that they don't know what to do with. So we're consulting with people or counseling people through the debt consolidation process. And what we're doing is we're able to use the equity in somebody's home to allow them to consolidate that debt, to articulate or to translate into a much lower monthly payment. Right. So the affordability is much easier for them on a monthly basis.
Because right now, with the cost of, I don't know, tomatoes, it's important to save every dollar that you can for life. Yeah.
You're the second person today that mentioned tomatoes.
Interesting.
I spoke to somebody this morning. It was 4 tomatoes for $13. Wow. So yes, it's things to be concerned about or worried about.
Right.
But at the same time, there are solutions.
Absolutely. Okay. And then we have one last topic.
Yes.
Aging in place with so many boomers, my parents being them, 2 of them. People are curious about what their options are for.
I keep using the term suffering in silence, and I don't mean to make it sound doom and gloom, but there are a large number of seniors that are living in their homes that they have worked so diligently and hard over their life and their working years to pay that home off. And they're living there without being able to afford some luxuries in life. With inflation, like you touched on, it's difficult to have enough money for groceries. It's difficult to pay your utilities. So what we have found is that there are people that are sitting with a ton of equity in their home and not knowing what they can do to tap into it because they're seniors. So they don't think they qualify for a mortgage. And in some cases they wouldn't. And even if they did qualify for a mortgage, a traditional type mortgage, they're then having to make those monthly payments, where a reverse mortgage allows them to remain in place, age in place, bring in services that they perhaps otherwise haven't been able to afford.
Yeah, like care at home, somebody to come and help clean or do their grocery shopping, or so many things.
Anything you think of.
Yeah.
And they can access the equity in their home without then being responsible to make a monthly mortgage payment. The interest that is accumulating over time gets accrued to the balance of the mortgage. So
they don't have to make a monthly mortgage payment?
Not at all, no.
Interesting.
It's quite incredible, actually.
I'm learning too.
Everybody's learning. So it's an interesting vehicle that has not always been popular with realtors, simply because as a realtor, and not
we don't get to buy and sell.
You're
It's about the relationship.
What's interesting about it is that realtors have looked at it as, oh my God, why would I tell my client to stay in their house? Well, to your point, you have to do the right thing for the clientele that you're working with. And who knows, that person, that elderly person that is aging in place might very well have the ability to give a living inheritance to the Shauna. All we can do today, and you're doing a great job of this with the Nosey Neighbour, is sharing information. Yeah. And the more information we can share and the more lives that we can, and I'm not trying to be all Pollyannish, but the more lives that we can change and assist through these difficult times, yeah, I think we're doing our job properly. And unfortunately, there are a lot that are not. So again, kudos to you for doing what you're doing, getting the message out.
Words of affirmation, they're my love language.
There you go. Perfect.
All right. Well, I think that's everything for today. Joe will be back again in 4 months as one of my regular rotating guests. And if you have any questions for him, let me know. We'll address them then.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much for taking the time to join me for coffee this morning. If you liked what you saw here today, I would ask you to please like my page. If you are thinking of buying or selling, I would love to chat with you about how to make that the least stressful and most profitable experience for you. And as always, thank you. We'll see you next time on Coffee. Bye now.